I'm a big fan of the WHAM stuff.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to WHAM.
Respectable. Any pain?
No, I've got really phlegmy throat at the moment, so I wasn't going to get the huge amount of whamming out.
That's quite a restrained 7 out of 10. It's not going to cause anyone to get a wee flinch if they're caught off guard. Quite why they'd be caught off guard, because as a podcast, you should know what you're listening to. Unless you put it on shuffle, which some podcast players do. Who does shuffle on their podcasts?
No.
Perverts. Perverts. Only them. I will listen to them one after the other in the order they've been released, or if I've got a backlog, I'll listen to the backlog of one podcast and the backlog of the other.
No, you see, I've got there's a hierarchy of podcasts for me.
Oh yeah, in terms of when they come in, there's ones that I must listen to very quickly, and ones that I'll catch them. I'll wait and catch them at the right moment. Because there's certain ones I like to listen to when I'm commuting or travelling. Others I'll listen to as and when I'm footering about doing stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, Science the Comic, the podcast is always going to be, that comes out, I'll listen to that on the day of its release. Get in the Trunk or Time for Chaos from the Glass Cannon Network, day of release. Other stuff, I will listen to at some point. I do have, weirdly, a backlog of House to Astonish to listen to, which is real fun because they release things so irregularly nowadays. I shouldn't have 3 episodes.
No, to be honest, there's only 2 podcasts I actually watch or listen, because one of them's on YouTube, but as and when it comes out, is the Football Ramble. It's a football thing. I like football. They are very good, and the right measure of lads without going too far.
Yes.
So, it's a fine line. They walk it very well, and they've got a rotating group of people coming in and out as well, so it keeps it fresh. And of course, the excellent, and I can't recommend enough, I Hate Doctor Who. It's a podcast where Richie tries to get people who've not watched Doctor Who to watch it and convince them that they might like it. Picks random episodes. It then got hijacked by some of his friends. They recorded an episode without him knowing it because he hadn't put one out in about 2 years. And it's gone from there. It's very, very funny. Particularly when the TARDIS team are in there, which is Owen O'Donnell of the Infinite Review, another YouTube podcast you must watch, listen to, brilliant. Sean, and of course TRDQ's Gav Spence, who's a good friend of mine. It is brilliant because they wind him up no end. I recommend, even if you do not like Doctor Who, it's probably pound for pound one of the funniest things ever. And then you need to go onto YouTube and watch the Infinite Review's Star Trek Online. It's the one where you could have a group of you controlling a starship.
All right, okay.
It's now long gone. Or it's a recording of them doing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You will laugh until you cry. It's absolutely funny. There is a warning, several Scottish accents in play, and a couple of Irish. So, but it's so funny. It's one of these YouTube clips that if I want to laugh, if I need a quick, I'm in a mood, get me out of it, fire that on. I can't recommend it enough.
For the last couple of weeks, so a little look behind the curtain here. We haven't recorded for about 7 weeks because it's been the summer holidays. There has been no time at all for me because children.
I had TF Nation in August, so the build up to that is usually my busiest time, and then after it, I usually need a little bit time to recover and decompress and feel normal. I needed more this time because I got my 4th bout of COVID in 5 years after it. So this is me pretty much just about back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
Or normal for me.
So, so because we've had that break, there's a load of stuff that we haven't really spoken about. And one of those things is all the way through the summer holidays, when I've been getting overly stressed with children knocking on the door or children running through my house or children being in my garden, just an infestation of children all over the place, because my son's now at the age where children are now playing together. And there's kids on the street, and they all come and like to play with Joseph, because we have a really big garden. I have been getting my headphones on and just listening to Louis Armstrong being the first man in space.
that clip nearly broke me and Wallace when we found out. It's still the two of us in bits, and just one laughed, the other stopped, the other looked at the other one and started to laugh again, and just we were both.
The other thing that broke me over the summer holidays was I went to Bring Out Your Lead. Had a great time, and on the evening of the Sunday, very, very tired, great weekend, me and Andy Bullman played 3rd edition Talisman. I had a druid, and my druid had the sole intention, he had the sole quest of getting to some woods in order to get a talisman. He was stolen by eagles, stolen by harpies, fell into the same dungeon no less than 8 times, got lost in a dungeon, was crushed by a giant rolling ball in a dungeon, defeated multiple times by some of the shittiest little beasts in the world, made no headway, finally gets out the dungeon, 1 square away from getting to the forest to get a talisman, turned into a frog, eaten by a wolf. Andy, Mr. Milman, just goes under his breath, "Oh no," and I laughed. Like, in a way that you just don't laugh anymore, for about 15 minutes straight, where every time I got a breath, I just went again, and it was the best experience, I think, of the weekend.
Aside from the end when he dies, he had very Rincewind energy about him there. That's proper. It's like, yeah, Terry Pratchett's doing your dice rolls right now, mate.
Couldn't believe it. All the time, Andy's just like building up energy, like getting stronger and stronger and stronger. It's like, shit, he's off to kill the dragon. I get killed by a strength 1 wolf. Oh well. But yes, we're not here to talk about old games of Warhammer, though. We are here to talk about old comics of Warhammer. Look at me.
Oh, that was smooth. So we're on to issue 16.
Yes, we are.
Which is the best new British comic, and that's official, according to the cover.
Well, at this point, it would have won its awards.
But we'll come to that. So we have, issue 16. So again, still the princely sum of £2 if you're in the UK, or £2.95 if you're in America. Everyone else, I don't know, you're going to have to work that out for yourself. Some complicated barter system, perhaps, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the exchange rate would be right for, like, Finland in the late 90s.
Canada, I imagine it would have been $3.95.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Just my vague knowledge, just from every Marvel and DC cover box back in the day.
Yes.
It was all, you pay more in Canada. Despite only being a little bit further north, you can pay more. So we have...
we do. A Wayne Reynolds piece. It is... it's a hell of a starting image, like, isn't it? It is. I really, really like this as a cover image.
I love the cover image. We have some copy around it with Scourge and Purge. It's the Redeemer.
Yep.
Plus Inquisitor, Darkblade, Flesh and Blood. So I love the image. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's got you've got the first perspective of the chainsaw going towards the reader from an elevated position. Nice flames and all that. The big pointy hat with the burning brazier hat with the flames on it, which is not practical.
No.
And quite frankly, I believe whatever that mask he has underneath is probably melted to his skin by now, or if not, should do.
I'm more concerned about his hairline, to be honest with you. Because your hair's going to singe being close to that much heat.
Yeah. And just stray sparks that ring. So, but anyway, you've got that there. So, a really lovely cover. The cover copy, I'm going to take issue with not the text, but what they've done, because I can see exactly what's happened is they put the lettering on and went, doesn't quite stick out enough. We need to do an outline around it in Illustrator. So they've just put a stroke on the font, and as you can see, makes there's no distinct holes in the G and the E.
Yes.
And they put another bit of white around it. It's like, it's all just I've got Illustrator, I know I can fix this. You can't.
Yeah, well, I mean, the colours should have been chosen better.
Yes, it's also just, if you're doing stroke, it's the minute the stroke makes uneven stuff, stop.
Yeah.
I recognise this because I've done this myself. These are all mistakes that anyone who's got Illustrator when you're trying to composite stuff works. So it just looks, it makes it look low res, and as if it's not. It isn't, because it will be vector graphics slapped over the top.
Yeah.
But, I see, Detract's from a really good cover. It's one of their better ones.
I was going to say, what we've seen is them slowly but surely getting the idea of what a comic cover looks like. And this looks like a cover. It tells exactly what you've got to decide. It's easy to read. I mean, you're absolutely correct on the way that it's been feathered. It needed to be.
Still, it is not. It just looks cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of these things that, again, I've harped on about all the times in it. Is any copy or text or lettering in any comic that you're doing should feel part of the image or integrated with it. And if it's not, there are times that you can't avoid that depending on what you're doing. But if it looks like you've not put time into it, it detracts away from everything else because you're half-assing it.
Yeah.
That is a bugbear of mine that has grown and grown over the years. And as I've said before on other episodes, there's certain glorious comics, glorious fan comics as well, that I've looked at, picked up and bought, and the minute I started to read went, yeah, this is absolutely turd. And the story could be the best thing since Alan Moore's Ballad of Halo Jones, and I'll never know.
Book 3.
Because you're lettering so bad and so half-assed. I'm not interested in reading it because it's fighting against this. Because we talk about it. Good lettering works is part of the art. It doesn't enhance it, it's part of it. The comic page is the finished art. So it should be a seamless part of it to draw your eye, and you should follow it. There should be a flow. If I'm fighting against it, or if it's there, it's not a good reading experience.
No. Which, weirdly enough, I'm going to go on a little tangent here. I'm sorry, I apologise, ladies and gentlemen, but you're listening to this show, so you know how this goes. Do you remember the late 90s Sam and Twitch series?
Yes.
Do you remember how that was lettered?
Yes, with the text kind of free-flowing with odd circles around it, square lines. You'll be pleased to know that the rebooted Sam and Twitch that's going on just now does pretty much the same thing.
It's cool, because I always liked that. It gave it a different look, but I also know that there's a lot of people in the industry who didn't like it because they found it hard to read or, a couple of different reasons. But what are your thoughts on that? I know that we're way off the mark here, but it's the Todd Felder.
I didn't mind it. I do not like the current one because it's very digital. It doesn't feel integrated to the to the art. It feels very much like here's your art, here's the thing slapped on top of it, which is exactly what it is in terms of production. It's generally when you're compositing in design, which is what most people tend to use now. Your art will be there. Your lettering will be on a separate, usually an EPS layer. It'll be on top of it. But they should feel like they're the same thing. They shouldn't feel different.
Yeah.
Unless you're deliberately trying to do it, in which case that is fine. But I don't so much like it there. Also, it depends. It's something that I don't think needs to be there all the time. It would depend on who the artist is. Yeah.
Angel Medina did an amazing job with the art there, and it kind of all flowed together. It all fitted really nicely.
But it's almost about making it work, to making it a whole, because that's the thing. The finished piece is the comic, and that's what everyone should be in service of. Everyone should be bringing their A game and doing the best that they can, which most people do. But the whole point is, what you're looking at is that should feel integral. That should feel part of it, not separate. Again, it's why digital lettering is brilliant, because it has made life a lot easier for a lot of people, and it does make it quicker. You can do stuff, but a lot of it looks sterile. There are easy ways to do it. The easiest one, just to go to follow on your tangent, is if you're doing lettering, make your shape slightly irregular. One of the tricks I do is I don't make it a perfect oval. The oval isn't perfect. I'll make one of the sides slightly different, even just one little bit. But it's enough that it just, everything that looks perfect and looks identical just looks like a copy and paste job.
Yes, yeah.
It's slightly irregular, so it looks like it's actually been, it's part of it. It's a simple, easy trick to do. But
it's the Transformers Generation 2 has a long shadow on how to do speech bubbles.
Well, the thing is, Transformers Generation 2 is digital lettering because it's one of Comic Craft's earliest ones, but they did them, but they were still then printed and pasted onto the line art. The reason I know this is none of you can see.
Really?
I had them. Yes. In fact, I will show you just now. I don't know if I disconnect the laptop. So this is going to be exciting for all of you, but the desk I'm sitting at, I have a shrine of art, which Adam will switch at. So I have a jazz from Ed Perry, which is a lovely painting. I have a Simon Harrison sketch of Johnny Alpha.
Nice.
And I have 2 pages of Transformers Generation 2 drawn by Manny Galan.
Oh, man. I did not know you had them. That's gorgeous.
But the digital lettering was still pasted onto the original artboard.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have, if you look at the comic, you will see there are certain ones, for those that read it regularly, and it should be basically a weekly thing for all right-thinking people, you will see that some of the balloons have irregular cutting because of where the scalp has one or where the art's, or where it's. Well, the text is obviously entirely digital and it's fine, but there are still some irregularities as a result of that handmade bit of it.
Never knew that the speech bubbles were still cut out. I always assumed the Comicraft just had it digitally on. I suppose 1990,
Yep.
So 1992. So yeah, that makes sense. But it's just one of those things that's always been in my head as weird. My mind's been blown.
Nope. There you go. So, slight tangent on the art of lettering. Not our first, and certainly won't be our last. So we'll get on to page 2. So we have. So we find out that the best new comic, and they've got a little symbol. It's the National Comic Awards.
Yep.
That is as much they give to the award that they got.
Why is it not? Yeah.
Because what I would want to be doing is pointing out, here's what we were nominated against X, Y, and Z. We beat this. This is how good we are.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's the thing is, you do the bit on the cover, but inside you basically go, yeah, we were up against this, and this, and that. So we're barely a year. We're just over a year out, and we got this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those weird things that you really need to be pushing the fact that you have won this, because, I mean, you're going up against 2000 AD Eagle. I mean, granted, they're not best new. They won't be new comics, but you need to kind of be pointing out the fact that this is what the comic landscape looks like, and this is the award we've won.
So you're 98, 99, and well,
that's the problem. If you start looking at what else is out there in the comics landscape, there's not a huge amount.
Well, strictly speaking, this will be off the back of Heroes Reborn, Heroes Return, Heroes Reborn. So you've probably got the relaunch of FF, Avengers, Cap. Strictly speaking, if you want to do those, yeah.
True. So, now, you see, when it's a national comic, I just assumed it meant UK comics only. I never once considered, because that would be the International Comic Awards, wouldn't it?
To be fair, there weren't a lot of new comics coming up the UK in 1998.
No, I'm just going to have a quick look because I'm fascinated. New UK comics, 1990. Very little. You've got the
best new comic British. So it is the best new comic British. So congratulations, you're up against next to nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you're looking at a lot of small press stuff, which I don't think they did because they would usually group that. So
the only comics I can find that were sort of new in 1998 is all reprints of American stuff.
Yeah.
The Essential stuff, but I mean, Essential X-Men and Essential Spider-Man and stuff, they'd been going for years by this point, like a good 5 years. Yeah. Miss the Essential books. They were so great. But anyhow, how does it feel about back in the space year of 1999, us getting a mention in the comic?
Well, yeah. Yes, you refer to the tail end of the two idiots.
Well, come here. Wham, 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 wham. Oh, it's cracked. Never mind. Wham, 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 wham. Which, of course, then means that we, as the Whammers, are now mentioned in the comic.
Bifurcating through time.
Yep.
Now,
the most popular Warhammer Monthly podcast is now officially the most famous one for being mentioned in the comic nearly 30 years before we started.
I'll take that. So, again, as with before, we'll move on from the idiot. So we get the little typical hype bit at the bottom, which tells us Blood Quest is coming back.
Yep. Can you see my problem with the Blood Quest logo?
The sort of the big two looking like bones at the back of the eagle.
No, it's the way it's been centered. Because it cuts off the very edges of the triangles.
I was coming to that. Someone wasn't aware of the safe areas but the thing is they play very close to that. Like I know for a fact that there are printers who will not print that if they submitted that.
Yeah.
Like if I went to go to Mixam or printed.com to print that comic, that wouldn't get out the door because the product code text is too close to the edge.
Yes. Yeah. It's like right on the bottom there. It is. Yeah.
I'd be looking for a minimum of 3mm safe zone at that point, which they haven't done. But I digress. So
it's infuriating that we keep finding these like just real simple lacks of understanding of space.
You wouldn't really notice that this is just because if you've printed the stuff, you'll notice it. If you're an artist type, so the only thing you'll really notice is the bad cropping of Blood Quest. The tail of the logo is chopped. And again, sidebar, we get our best new comic. We're kicking off with Inquisitor. We get told that new is the Redeemer. Mm-hmm. We also have Flesh and Blood, which is new because it's just a one-off, but we're not being told. So again, positioning. We knew from the preview issue we talked about that the Redeemer is clearly going to be if not an ongoing, a recurring story.
Yes.
Again, set in Necromunda, so expanding that. Obviously, we've got Cal Jericho in there as well. So, will there be an inevitable crossover at some point? Who can tell? And then, rounding up, let's say Flesh and Blood is I'll be interested to hear the thoughts of my esteemed co-host later on, because irrespective of all the nonsense, say the minute it mentions the word Skaven, it'll be like, oh, that's fine.
Yep, I'm happy. Is this not the second story that we've had called Flesh and Blood, though?
Quite possibly.
I'm sure that they had another one-shot earlier on called Flesh and Blood. I'm certain of it, but I haven't had a chance to go back and look.
And then we round things off with a Darkblade.
Yay! Woo! Welcome back.
Yeah. So because we've had a few weeks off, we again... So there's not really much to say about the contents page. The Redeemer is like your puff piece. Again, all of the criticisms can be there in terms of just find better art, crop it better, And then we kick off again with the letters page, which this is ridiculous to me. Bred on basically being for either US or even UK stuff would sometimes have your letters, but they would have it bundled into the contents bit before the actual stuff. So you've had your contents bit out of the way. This should be at the back.
Yeah.
Or in the middle, or in between something.
Yeah. The fact that it's stopping you from getting to the start of the stories is maddening.
Yes. I just look at it and go, again, this is is very common in the magazine world. Magazines do this. Comics don't.
Yeah.
And someone it's like, you're doing a comic.
Yeah.
Do a comic.
No, 100%. I mean, I always think of SFX on how letters pages work, because the only time SFX didn't have letters pages at the very beginning was when they had Isn't It About Time You Gave Another Chance, which was the first 2 pages after the contents page, and then you had the letters page, because those first 2 pages were often a joke. I always remember, Isn't It About Time You Give Crime Traveller Another Chance? You turn the page, and one page had the letter N, and the other page had the letter O, and it was the cheapest 2 pages SFX had ever done.
Yes.
It's magazines. This isn't a magazine. I know they have a tendency of calling it a comics magazine sometimes, but you are a comic. You need to act like a comic. You can't use what a magazine is. You can't use the lessons learned from making a magazine, which at this point they have done for a very long time with White Dwarf. The Fnatic stuff's about to happen. You've got Warhammer Month. No. Citadel Journal. You've got Citadel Journal coming out every month. You know how to make a magazine. Magazines aren't comics. Stop using the lessons of magazines to make comics. It is infuriating.
So, interesting bit in the first letter is someone calls out the lack of free gifts.
I saw
Which I really like. Someone switched on to if you want younger readers, stick something to the front of each issue, which is a horrible thing because that is what the UK comics market became.
yes.
It used to be a special occasion when you would get a free gift.
Yeah.
An anniversary issue or a cross-promotion marketing thing or that. But again, a free gift to the first issue was a stick-on, should have been.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we are looking at this with 25 years of experience, but one of the major issues with the UK comic and children's magazines market is that they're selling the product by attaching a load of to it. You look at something like Toxic, the sheer amount of nonsense you get with it, and it's all cheap-ass nonsense. None of it's worth anything. None of it's any good. And it's to sell the product rather than have a good product. So I was never a huge fan of free stuff at the front of the comic or, whatever, just purely because you kind of struggle to get the free thing off the comic without wrecking it.
There are ways, however, it depends on what the free thing is. There was a hierarchy of free gifts, which in my puritanical thought, I will accept on a comic.
Hog
I will
tags.
take a poster. So what's that?
Hog tags, which was the Sonic the Comic Hedgehog dog tags, but hog tags has always made me think of a Prince No.
Poster don't mean a poster as in take the centre pages out of your comic. I mean poster inside. None of you. That's actually cheaping out on page count.
Yes.
Arsehole wishers. Take a badge.
No? Okay.
I will take a polybag free sticker album and stickers.
Oh, yeah, that absolutely. Yep. Love me a sticker album.
Trading cards acceptable as well,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we got in the early 90s when Marvel packaged stuff with trading cards. I'll accept that.
Marvel, was it Fleet? I can't remember the name of the artists who did all the cards now. Hilbrunt? Was it the Hilbrunt brothers?
That was yes, there was one series we did the Marvel masterpieces with the Hildebrandt.
Yeah. Hildebrandt, that's the one. When they were on the front of Essential X-Men and Essential Spider-Man, I would buy a load of those magazines just before they went off sale, because my local newsagents would then let me go in and buy the rest of them for dirt cheap, like for cost, just to get the trading cards. In fact, hang on 1 second.
Alfil Dead Air, as my co-host, is a way to probably find a big box of them. Free gifts were always kind of the thing, but as I say, the UK market and as newsagents kind of and publishers, newsagents kind of fell away from being the main one. It became supermarkets. Supermarkets want something that's got a bit high price.
Because it'd be really, really boring for me to go and find them all. But there's some of the ones that I've got. I've got the old Marvel Masterpiece cards.
We show them what I think is I can't see because it's a little bit dim with it. One of those look like a Terrax.
Signed Terrax. The signed Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
And the Fatal Attraction Magneto pulling the adamantium out of Wolverine.
Oh, that's the other CGI set. That's next year's one.
Yep. Loved these cards.
From the letters page. It does announce who wins the awesome artwork. So the page of art from the previous one. So you do get competition winners. And as we're in the 90s, we now no longer print the full address of competition winners, which is something we did back in the day.
100%, yes. Don't dox your competition winners.
Yeah, innocent times. But what you also have, the more interesting thing is you can actually get a custom miniature of Leonatus from BloodQuest.
I don't remember this at all. I have no memory of a Leonatus miniature.
I may not have read this issue back in the day, because like I say, I picked it up in the shop.
Yeah, you get a numbered certificate of ownership signed by Gordon Rennie and Colin McNeil and Mike McVeigh, who sculpted it.
1,000.
Only 12 quid as well. God damn it, I would hate to think how much that goes for when it turns up on eBay.
Your turn to fill time. Have a little look and see if you've got any listings.
Yep.
Or recent ones that have been closed.
So the letters page itself, there's...
No, we've got a couple available.
Oh, okay.
So, also we have Colin McNeil has original artwork on for Blood Quest at not unreasonable prices.
Oh.
But not cheap, but not unreasonable.
Need to know that.
So there are currently 2 available on ebay.co.uk to be specific right now. What's your price?
I'm going to say 800 quid.
Lower.
Ooh, 500 quid.
Close, both are in the ballpark. The cheapest is £499, £95, or best offer.
Should,
The other one is £501.38.
should we put a best offer in at 20 quid, see if he goes for it?
Hey, I mean, good. There have been no sold ones in an age, so...
Right, okay. I mean, if there's only been 1,000 of them made, I can imagine that they don't turn up that often. That's mental. Yeah. Like the letters themselves, there's not a huge amount that really stands out. There's one here which I quite enjoyed, which is from John Keeley in Dublin, who asks that... 1 second, let me just pull this back up. Here we go. Thanks for an excellent comic. It is well on par with the other SF comics. Demonofuge is brilliant. I'm a big fan of Kev Walker's past work. Right-minded person. And I can't wait for book 2. Having got the new 40k for Christmas, I think one thing lets it down. All the background from the old codexes is missing. Perhaps you should get Inferno to reprint it all or release it in a number of volumes. If you're going to be making more models, please make the late Inquisitor hand. Can't wait for more Ravenwing. I called you right-minded, but you're wrong. But I'm afraid you'll have to stop printing stories involving beardy, stunty, gold-loving, orc-hating dwarfs. I hate them, I do. So, the reason I found this letter interesting is he's just got 40k. He's just got the 1999, so that's the 3rd edition codexes, which were the really cut-down version. And he's using Warhammer Monthly as a way of complaining about the fact that they don't have all the information in anymore. And I found that a really interesting... It's a Venn diagram of the people who are buying the comic. You could write to White Dwarf, absolutely, but using the comics version, like the comics arm of the setting of the company, to complain about something that's happening in the game design studio section of it, I found really interesting.
Yeah, it's another choice, but again, I'm going to imagine they probably have sent the same letter to White Dwarf as well. Quite possibly.
I'd have to dig out my White Dwarf from this month and just to see if John Keeley's in there as well. If you are John Keeley from Dublin who had your letter printed in Warhammer Monthly, please get in touch. I would be fascinated to find out if you sent the same letter into White Dwarf.
Yeah, but as we said, yeah, it's a 3rd edition. It's like, yeah, we're going to tweak the rules slightly and, yeah, take out a lot of the fluff.
Yeah, they got really cut down, and I was never a fan of those books. There's stuff in those codexes which I quite like, which is how a lot of the background and story gets told in a different way. Like the Orc Codex, it has like the biology of the orcs is like these reports from Adeptus Mechanicus people. And that's a really cool way of doing it. But you kind of needed that big drop of fluff at the very beginning in order to make it all work.
We're not here to talk about all the evils of James Workshop since they abandoned 2nd edition cruelly.
I think you can say since they abandoned Sense, do not look for it is abandon these lands.
Well, again, we can say that when it's like, yeah, you 2nd edition's still best.
Yeah.
I will take no questions. You may comment if you wish, but so long as your comment is, yeah, I quite agree. All other comments to the contrary will be deleted.
Oh, should we start on some Taint?
Yes, so let's get into the Taint. Again, it is just one of these words. We have Inquisitor on Chapter 5 of the Taint of Nicodemus.
Yes.
Dan Abnett on writing, Simon Colby on art, and Fiona Stevenson on letters. So what we have is Nicodemus is the planet they're on. The Inquisitor DeFay is purging this family that seem to be at the heart of all of chaos on this planet, talking about how ancient corruptions run in the thick blood of the noblest houses. I'd more have probably went with watery inbred blood myself, but that's just my class leaning shining through. Well, in a nice turn up for the books, and this time he's actually been invited by the Mathaldas family, or by some of members of it, because, and as he calls out, Lord Panos, it is unusual for an Inquisitor to receive an invitation. Why have you sent for me? And he goes, it's my son, Inquisitor. You must destroy my son. So we're hanging the hat on. This we go on. It is here's the horrible family secret that we've kept locked away. Quite an old horror trope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Victorian style. The keeping the offspring up in the attic because he's become something monstrous.
Yeah, and again, as we go in, we get to see the wife who is doing the sadly, or what you would think sadly is the hysterical crying wife.
Yeah.
I was like, always, he's been wild, devilish, monstrous. And when we heard while you were here on Nicodemus, we realised it's like, so she's rambling away, and he does the Victorian thing of forgive my wife.
There's a real oddly Victorian feel about the way that this comic's put together. You get the idea that, especially for this installment, there was that sense of gothic horror.
This is straight out of Hammer. This could be that this is Hammer does Warhammer 40k.
Man, House of Warhammer, yeah. I'm in.
But again, it's unfortunate it's like, forgive my wife to face, she is tired and distressed. But she is correct. We knew it once. But she's correct. We knew it once that Jasper carried the taint.
I'm not apologising. However, it's that taint. Oh, Jasper's been carrying it for years.
Yeah, and it turns out that it's the wife that is one of the Mathaldas family. The husband is simply married into it, and he believes how the blood has been corrupted. And it's like, exactly. So we crave release from our burden. So you've got DeFay's boy is just writing away. The Cardinal, Lord Sarthos, is still with him. The Cardinal of Nicodemus.
Yep. The card.
It's also the fact he just always looked languid and bored.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful choice from because DeFay's kind of your square jawed, big beefy.
He's the goddamn hero.
And then this guy, I think it's the collars as well. Just give it sort of like a languid kind of makes him look even more languid and kind of, yeah. I really don't.
And nothing here is going to actually disturb nor bother me. I will just get on with it, and then we'll go have tea and crumpets. But it's also in his the way he speaks, that I must say it is refreshing to find citizens willing to approach this issue seriously. The parental bond is fierce. Most in your position would hide their offspring from Lord DeFay. Which then you get the really 40k responsive, I am a servant of the Golden Throne. If I must spill my own blood to keep Terra safe, I will.
Yeah. And then DeFay basically sidles off, just saying, it's like, I must interview the boy at once, but wants a private word with the Cardinal. And he's like, watch these people. There's something about this I don't like. And there's no response from the Cardinal, but the facial expression on the Cardinal is gold. Like a slightly raised eyebrow, but again, just still so, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the face, and what I can see, it shades of a little bit of Roger Delgado from Doctor Who, but also Roy DeFries.
Yeah.
No British character actor who's in his fair share of horror and the like.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like very much I wonder if that was in Colby's mind when he was drawing it, or if that's in the script. But because it very much is it's not a full likeness. It's not like he's traced or done it. It's like, it feels very much pulled from that kind of
type almost. I love this Cardinal, man. He's the standout character of this comic for me now. He's brilliant.
Well, we talk about character. There's, again, one of the things that has become abundantly clear for Warhammer is that it does have its roots in UK comics as a whole, which is plot and action rather than character. Which, given you're doing smaller installments, is kind of what happens. But as we've talked about, it is one of the weaknesses of this in that we have several ongoing stories where you really, as long as the story is interesting, you're invested, but you're not getting a lot to hang on the characters to make you care about the characters as an individual.
No. But just these little bits of work, telling the story of the character from the art, telling the story of the character from the dialogue, slowly but surely you get to know them. And it's a very important skill to be able to deploy in these.
You really don't know anything about DeFay. DeFay is not interesting at all.
No, because he's the cipher. He is there to push the story along and to destroy whatever is at the end.
But again, you're also looking at the scribe is trainee. He's not interested either.
No,
you're getting the supporting characters I've got a little flavour about them, but again, it's the flaw that we've found in this, that you're not giving enough meat to the bones of the actual characters themselves.
No.
Which, well, if you were doing a weekly, you could get away with this more because you'd have a lot more installments.
Yes,
but we're generally getting 7 to 8 episodes, and that's it done.
Yeah,
but the story is interesting. So I say it's not that I'm not hating it, but it's just we are still not getting. There hasn't. The only one you could say nominally should be a character study is Darkblade, and it fails miserably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get to Darkblade.
Oh, yes, I'm sure we will. So as we're going along the Citadel to find it, it's like we keep him the easiest. The wing of the Citadel is the easiest to keep secure. We've kept him in a high room, and the Inquisitor's boy asks for how long, and it's like 16 years.
Which, considering how young he looks, how old was he when they first locked him in the room?
Yeah, so. It is nice that to get into this high-tech thing, it is just basically a key and a lock.
Yeah. So
DeFay gets ready, puts on his mask, and the door is opened, and you get him holding a lantern into it because there's clearly no light. Behind the door, there's a wee spiked door that's been lifted back up. It's like, Jasperson, where are you? You basically just see a young lad move from behind sort of steam pipes and just go in the kind of Judge Death voice, "Other," and he just looks like one of the kids from the people under the stairs, kept under the house.
He really does.
Except he has a tongue.
Get behind me, and I will handle this. I am Inquisitor DeFay, and I would know what you are, Jasper Panoff.
So
nice little bit of just using very simple sentences to get into the meat and the bones of what's going on here.
Yeah, and rather than, so we don't see it because it's not essential for the plot. So what we have is we cut again. It's the very much the. We'll leave this to your imagination in terms of what the Inquisitor stuff is, because you also don't. It's telling that you don't actually see the son after this point.
No.
So it's like, what condition was he left in?
Yeah, I quite like though that you're left with the idea that he was tortured. Yeah, that there's no other way around what the Inquisitor would have done to him. He would have tortured him to get to the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth is, your son is illiterate, subnormal in his emotional and social responses, and clinically insane. As I expected. Insane, I said, as any normal human would be after 16 years of brutal incarceration. But he carries no taint of chaos and is to be pitied. I am appalled at your inhumanity. And appalled, too, that such inconsequential cruelty should draw me here away from my vital work.
It's great. It's very fun. It's like, you're a Inquisitor lecturing people on inhumanity.
Yep.
Yeah. How many planets have you burned, motherfucker? It's like, that's a very glass house to be throwing stones from. That's all I'm saying. But at that point, you get him just sort of staring away, but from the voice behind him, so, my dear Inquisitor, Jasper was just the excuse to get you here. I was like, as I suspected, Sarthos, do you stand ready as I asked? And you get that.
What's with you, Cardinal? That's not up to your usual standard of viperative retort.
And then we get our splash page of the poor Cardinal is in the hands of massive chaos beast as the rest of the family start to shapeshift.
You have gravely hurt the Mathildas line, DeFay. So the Mathildas line has summoned you here to stop you doing it again.
The demons aren't exactly very 40k. I will put that out there. They remind me of something else, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It's not the phalanx, but it's something along those lines.
Oh, it's shades of any kind of superheroes transformed by demonic/alien thing. Because, yeah, you look at it, it's like, but again, the whole point is these aren't really demons so much as chaos spawn, so you can kind of get away with it. It's just because Games Workshop's chaos spawn is here's 5 models. There's your infinite forms of chaos. Have 5.
Yeah. But where's the guy made entirely of fingers? Come on. Yeah.
And again, what you also want is, because it's a reveal, you do want to at least have a couple of them recognizable as the characters they previously were.
Yes, of course.
Continuity, so there's no point. But yeah, you've got, let's see, the Cardinal looks like he's in for a bad time of it.
I'm telling you now, if Cardinal Sarthos gets killed, I riot.
Yeah. What I do like is the big horned guy at the top right just has shades of the Rock.
No, I see that. I can absolutely see the...
I can see Dwayne in that role.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like Jumanji era Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I thought this was actually another really good Inquisitor.
I'm enjoying it. As I say, the art is fantastic. I'm enjoying it because, look, see, it's not that, to be clear, my criticism about the way the characters are, or the lack of characters, not every strip has to be character driven. You do want stuff that is plot and event led. You want a mix. It's just I don't think Warhammer's ever given us that mix yet. And this is one of the more successful ones compared to others where it's maybe not been quite as good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the story is interesting enough to keep you going. The broad strokes of what we get as characterization it's enough to keep me interested. You know, the what's not being said and what's between the pages kind of fills in the blanks a lot for me. Yeah.
There's enough gaps hanging in there to let your imagination fill in those bits. Like I say, the great bit about the Inquisitor scene is, you don't need to see what he's done. You know what an Inquisitor does, and depending on kind of, do you think he was kind and sympathetic because he already knew, or was he just full blown? Yeah, let's get my torturing equipment out.
Yes, the latter, definitely the latter.
But I'll say, art's fantastic. The Cardinal, I've enjoyed since the start because he was just like, you're. At first, you thought, you're in on it. You're a dick. It's like, no, just he is a man of some principle, but at the same time, just
yeah.
Great, great design. The facials on him have been fantastic. From stellar work from Simon Colby.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the artwork's beyond reproach.
If you included any of that in the script descriptions,
I would love to. I wonder if Abnett's ever made the scripts for Inquisitor available anywhere. Might be something worth tracking down.
But this has been kind of an enjoyable, and it kind of follows the serial rule of it. It's been a slow and gentle escalation.
Yes,
ramping it up.
I'll be sad when Inquisitor goes.
Well, it's book 1, so we probably will get another, and I think we've probably maybe got 1 or 2 parts left, just the way it feels.
Yeah, I would say maybe 2.
Because he's going to wipe out this entire family, this bloodline, and then he'll be looking at, is that the source, or did the source come from somewhere else?
Yes, yeah. I mean, that could end up only being one issue, actually.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. No, it's enjoyable. It's been fun. Like I say, I'm loving Simon Colby's art. I see this is previously, I think I've mentioned in other episodes, he kind of, when he came into 2008 and then Marvel UK sort of 90s, it's still very much recognisable him, but he kind of, there was a little bit of the image bit about him for a bit, which was true for everybody, but he's kind of moved past that into kind of, his style's moved on a little bit from this, but this is recognisably kind of where he hits when he does Jaeger for 2000 AD for several years, which is well worth tracking down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, genuinely, as this has gone on, this has possibly become my favorite art in Warhammer Monthly. It's a weird one because in a lot of ways it's not very 40k, but in other ways it's extremely 40k, but it's very much its own thing. And I really, really like the style and the aesthetic that it's got. It's just it's a wonderful adventure to look at.
It's one of the things that people get too prescriptive. It's very much been a thing, certainly not just James Workshop, but everybody in the modern era is, because everything's a fucking brand and an IP.
Yeah.
So it must be on model. It must look like this. Like I grew up, say, UK comics, particularly because the weekly grind of it, you wouldn't necessarily have the same guy do all of the parts. So you would have Transformers. You would go from a Jeff Anderson to a Will Simpson to a Ron Smith to a Jeff Senior, all the way back again. That's Target 2006 for those keeping score. 2000 AD, when you had Judge Red Tails, where the some of the more lengthy ones, you would go from an Ian Gibson to Mike McMahon to whoever, Ron Smith, Steve Dillon. You would jump through, and they would all be subtly different, or in some cases wildly different, but also recognizably the same character. But you need to let your artists have freedom to do that. Otherwise, if you're just having them do that, then what's the point? Just 3D model everything and then just do it that way. So you can have bland uniformity all the way, which is one of James Workshop's biggest problems in the modern era. It's like, it all looks a little bit samey.
It's a problem I've got with house styles. I think house styles have a tendency of really pulling back what you can and can't do. And it limits the artistic journey.
Oh, yeah. If I hire you to do something because of your art style, why do I want to go, oh, no, yeah, I've hired you because I've seen your work and I really like it, but I don't want you to do what you do. I want you to do it like the way that we want you to do it.
Yes, yeah.
Jog the fuck on.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
It's like, even looking at to go back to the 90s, because everything was great in the 90s. Look at, like, charitably, Wolverine was Marvel's, X-Men and Wolverine were Marvel's big things in the 90s.
Yes.
Now, what are probably Wolverine's couple of best regarded bits of work? You've got Weapon X by the incomparable Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah.
Now, this is Marvel Comics Presents, which is their anthology. It's then followed by Peter David and Sam Keith of the Max fame doing Blood Hungry. And Sam Keith's work becomes so much popular, then you've got like Mark Silvestri doing Wolverine on his ongoing title. Then all of these are three wildly different styles at the point where Wolverine's kind of at his peak.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like, they're not all going, oh, Sam, could you draw a little bit like Barry? Like Barry, we like what you're doing with this origin of Wolverine and the Weapon X program, but Mark's doing something slightly different in the Wolverine title. Could you not do it a little bit more like him?
Mm-hmm.
Then, ironically, everyone would try and draw like Jim Lee and fucking...
Yeah.
Much as he has his critics, and Joe Mad was a breath of fresh air on X-Men.
100%. I'm
always
going to go to bat for Joe Mad.
But that's it. So never do house style. Let your guys do it. Like I say, as you said, there are bits that don't feel like 40k, but there's enough of it that does, and it's an interesting enough tale to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's rapidly become one of my favourite strips, which is weird, isn't it? Because it's not the one that you think of when you think back to Warhammer Monthly. Inquisitor is not a strip that springs to mind.
It really is. Titan, Blood Quest, and Darkblade.
Although, if we move on to the next one, there is a title that springs to mind when it comes to Warhammer Quest. For we enter the world of The Redeemer, script by Pat Mills and Debbie Gallagher, art by Wayne Reynolds, and letters by Gordon Robson. Yay, Gordon Robson's back.
Yep.
The Redeemer. We're going to have some fun here.
Opinions.
Yeah, no.
Opinions.
Much like Pat Mills, you have opinions. To the glory and the praise of the Emperor of the Imperial Court and of the noble house of Cawdor, I wish to preserve the memory of what came to pass in Necromunda through the deeds of my master, the blessed Redeemer Clovis of glorious memory, who led a great crusade against the deviants to purge the planet of all heretics. Be wary. B.A., and for whom it was truly said, Prince, slow to punish, prompt to reward, he suffered when he was obliged to be hard. All in all, you begin the story where Deacon Malakev is, and I did read that as Malaki originally, Deacon Malakev is accompanying the Redeemer himself across the Ash Desert, bringing with him a collection of mutants, deviants, scavies, the scum of Necromunda. The Redeemer will purge their evil at a public execution in Hive City, because, as he says, penance without pain is no use. If it doesn't hurt, it doesn't count. We're going to get back to it, don't worry. When, suddenly, demon brood, crazy creatures raise themselves out of the sands and attack. The Cawdors are destroyed. The deviant filth, those prisoners are mine, says the Redeemer as he chops everybody into bits with a chainsaw. I've got to read it out because it's beautiful. They are not evolution, but evolution. Man alive. The fight continues. The demons are eventually broken down. The Redeemers are all kicked the shit out of in a very Mad Max way as somebody gets a chain and arrow thrown through them and then pulled away. A flail made out of a flaming skull is deployed. The Wrath of Redemption is used to burn everybody. The gigantic, ridiculous car just keeps travelling along as Hive Scum then come in to fight the mutant scum of the Ash Wastes in their amazing vehicles, and it's a trap. For at the centre of this great big desert, some giant abomination, food spawner, she who feeds us, the brood mother, eat hive meat and let us be. The Redeemers then use their ridiculous vehicle with the afterburners to fire right the way through into the middle of the hell pit. The Clovis himself jumps down and defeats the gigantic monstrosity with his chainsaw. I have speculated that the broodmother was originally a weird, possessed by a demon, its energy warping her into a monster. But the Redeemer discourages even thinking about such obscenities, lest the impurity of deviation leave a taint upon the mind as foul as the body. The mutants are all brought forth after it's all finished and done with and the murdering has been completed. Unfortunately, I can't find a torture that even begins to equal the enormity of your crimes, says Clovis. I must concede defeat. Are you going to show us mercy? These ones thank you, Lord. Oh, don't be ridiculous. Deacon Malakev, go to the Pulpitech and bring me a number 6 instrument of purging. Surely not the number 6, my lord. I'm afraid so. Make sure the winch is at. Remember, if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't count. Have you read Nemesis the Warlock?
Yeah, so this is absolute dog shit. It's very pretty, but it's absolute dog shit.
Okay, let's quickly go with the positive. The art is gorgeous.
I love Wayne's art, and again, no digging him. The lettering is fine. Do you want to know what Thomas the Torquemada from Nemesis the Warlock would be like without any of the social commentary or actual backstory behind it? Presented as if he was presented as if it was made by the fucking Asylum. So look no further. You've got it in this.
What you've got here is the wrong shadows and the wrong echoes from something like Nemesis the Warlock. It's remembering the captions. It's remembering the catchphrases, forgetting every other part that made Nemesis the Warlock as good as it was. It's not weird enough. It doesn't have anything to say. It is genuinely one of the worst scripts I've read in Warhammer Monthly, which is saying something because we've got Darkblade.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. This is absolutely nothing.
As you look at it and go, this is the very definition of I'm getting paid. I cannot be fucked. This stuff is beneath me.
Yeah.
I love a lot of Pat's work. but there's a lot of Pat's work I have no time for.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling that I think that charitably, and I love Nemesis the Warlock. I love ABC Warriors.
Yep.
Do you know when the last really good Nemesis the Warlock story was? It was book 9 in 1989, before he had the falling out with the 2000 editor-in-chief and stopped doing anything for a couple of years. Once Pat went away, one of Pat's many fallings out. I love the ABC Warriors. When was the last good ABC Warriors story?
Ooh.
And I will tell you, it is Chronicles of Chaos.
Right, yeah.
Everything else feels like it's been treading water ever since, with not a lot to say.
Yeah.
And it's all been glorious. Like, I have all of it because I'm an idiot. Like, I bought Joe Pineapple's Tin Man in hardcover because of Simon Bisley drew part of it.
Yep, absolutely.
It's horrible. But as Anne said, this is just, it's all the catchphrases. It's presenting Torquemada as he's in an action film portrayed by fucking Sylvester Stallone, coming out in 1994 after the success of Demolition Man.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, no, 100%. Vengeance without pain is no use. Yeah, there's, you can absolutely see the B-movie role in order. What drove me insane, and there's a lot here. I mean, the evolution, this isn't evolution, it's evolution. I mean,
someone's listened to Pearl Jam's tune.
I'm the beast, I'm the man, I'm the first model to wear pants. Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. There's a single line here. Here we go. You are thwarting the justice of the redemption, denying me the right to purify through pain. It is the most immature, juvenile take that you could have. You could be doing something here. But it says a lot that the one-shots that we've had have more to say than this does.
It is absolutely empty.
Yeah.
There's nothing to this other than I've been paid to do something about this, and it's like, I'll just dust off Torquemada, but rather than be any nuance to it, or the implication of he is potentially the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because again, everyone's a wrong 1 in 40k. That's the whole point. There are no good guys.
No. And the fact that you've got a character who is a extremist part of the Cawdor cult, who are already extremist parts of the Emperor's cult. So when you take it to that degree, you can do stuff. You can do all sorts with it. And this opening salvo he's an action hero.
Yeah.
I
mean, this should have been high satire, pointing out how ridiculous they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it's difficult to do in 10 pages or so, but Pat, it's also the fact that it's a writer who is capable of so much better.
Yes, I think that's a big part of it for me, is that this is a Pat Mills script. We know what Pat Mills is capable of, and this really feels like he just wasn't.
This is the Laurence Olivier film career.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
This is Michael Caine's Jaws 4. This is paying for the house.
I have not seen Jaws 4. I've been assured it is terrible. I have, however, seen the house it built, and that's quite lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I went through this like 2 or 3 times yesterday, just trying to find something to talk about. You know, there isn't just shitting on it, because just shitting on something isn't interesting. Constant negativity isn't that interesting a thing to do. All I have is the art is glorious.
I look at that going, Wayne Reynolds, you deserved a better story.
Oh, 100%.
You deliver your A game, and as little as this story cares, the art doesn't reflect it. The art's
phenomenal. It's proof, isn't it, once again, that good art cannot raise a bad script. I mean, there's a guy here, the heavy, the Cawdor heavy, or Redemptionist heavy, who's got the flamer and the big pointy hat. I don't know what it is, but that picture is gorgeous. Like, that's the type of thing I would love to have on my wall. It is so nice. There's lots of energy to it. There's loads of things going on, and your eye is drawn to all these different parts. It's great. But then you remember that this script is... Oh.
Yeah. Because again, you've got a whole bunch of guys in pointy hoods and robes that are pointed, and they're taking out other people who they feel are lesser than them. I mean, to not have any social commentary on it is actually, it's an achievement in itself.
It's true, yeah.
It's like, something you not?
Yeah. Yeah, why? How you don't have even the broadest strokes of satire on how serious the Redemptionists take themselves is baffling to me.
It's just, yeah. I mean,
I didn't even get into the fact that the demon brood that attack the land car, the beastmen who've evolved to swim through the ash wastes, which is all well and good if they were anything.
Yeah. She's like, oh, we've got these things that I've just killed, so it's of no interest.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just... All in all, I was very, very disheartened by this because I remember Redeemer kind of, like, not massively, but kind of. And I remember enjoying it. And what I've found is my memory is of the art. My memory is of this super kinetic, incredibly energetic artwork. And I'd totally forgotten just how much this is. It feels like Nemesis the Warlock's best of captions. Yeah, it's a book of quotes of Nemesis the Warlock.
Oh, it's not even that. That's the thing, is because the quotes would at least still have some resonance. It's basically the Asylum version of Nemesis.
Yes.
Told from the point of view of Torquemada.
Yeah.
But again, he did tales from the point of view of Torquemada and showed how much of a tit he was.
Yes.
So it's like, it's work that you could charitably do in your sleep, Pat.
Yeah.
It's like,
I just don't understand.
Again, this is the dictionary definition of a pay. It's either two things. It's either a paycheck job or they edited the hell out of what he did.
Aye.
However, I'm fairly certain we would know about it because Pat would not have stopped ranting about it.
That's true. That's true. I will say I do like the sting in the tail. The Pulpitech bring me the number 6 instrument of purging. Surely not the number 6, my lord. And everybody's just looking at him with like wide-eyed horror. It's, yeah, find the positives where I can, because it's a solid little joke. It's lazy, but it's solid.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move on because I have no wish to get in a mood and give that. It doesn't deserve any more attention, which is a shame for Wayne Reynolds' art, which deserves all the attention.
100%. Like Wayne Reynolds is, the work that he's done on this is glorious, absolutely glorious.
Again, just wish it'd been in service of a better story.
So next up, then we've got a 2-page little cutout of the Skaven, the Children of the Horned Rat. It doesn't get into mass amounts of detail, but gives you a nice overview of the Skaven. I actually thought this was fairly solid. You've got the history. You don't have a huge amount of space to play with, but you managed to get enough in there. You got the all the years leading up to the present day, which is, that's really cool. You've got some absolutely amazing John Blanchard in there.
Bits about clans. You can, again, quite clearly there are 2 clans worth playing. The others, not so much.
I don't know. I've always got a soft spot for Clan Eshin.
Oh no, the only 2 clans that I would do were Eshin and Skyer.
Okay. I like Skyer, Eshin, and I've got a soft spot for Mulder. Pestilence, nah, they're too nurgly.
Yeah.
Although, I need to find out at some point when Clan Skyer became Clan Skirry. Because at some point they added an extra R in, and I've never been able to find out where it came from. Because they were Clan Skyer, but now they're Clan Skirry. I don't know when that happened. Every piece of art in here is a John Blanche, except for the little rats, which are the page breakup, and that's Mark Gibbons. And the Skaven symbol at the top, that is a Wayne England special. But yeah. Gets across the Skaven real nice. I love Blanche's Skaven.
I say timeline's quite nice just in terms of here's where you go. And again, what I like about it is it doesn't give you any origins for them. It just basically says they're Skaven. Deal with them.
Yep. Yeah. If you want to know more about that, then on this YouTube channel, or however you're listening to this, if you go to the Fluffhammer YouTube channel, I do have the origins of the Skaven as a video, which is one of my favourite short stories that was ever placed in White Dwarf. Just mostly because it's a lot of people just getting eaten by rats. So, we get into Flesh and Blood then. A script by Kevin Gunstone, art by Mike Perkins, and letters by Gordon Robson. Gordon Robson really was making a lot of money out of this, wasn't he?
Well, I'm going to assume at that point, that's the thing is you want a good... Probably not, because it's only a monthly book, so he's only doing, like, six. But I hope he was making enough. But again, you want a good, competent hand letterer for a lot of this. Like I said, it's... Because, again, if you look at, as I say, look at the balloons, look at how they're slightly irregular, even just in normal speech.
Yeah.
They're not, again, that's the whole point is when you're doing it digitally, it's too easy to just do your oval and then reshape it around the lettering. But it's like, make them slightly irregular. It just does help.
It really does. It's one of those things. I even like the fact that the captions are weird and ragged.
Yeah.
He goes a long way of giving you the character of the strip.
Yeah. So you basically get we've got a set of bars. There's sort of an inset three-tier panel above the splash page, and it's like set of bars, and then you go from a character's viewpoint as if they're looking out from the bars. They can only see darkness because it turns out whoever it is in a cage that's got a dirty cloth covering over it, and they're asking, "Is it time for blood yet?" And the wee rats are going, quickly, or all is lost, yes.
All is lost, yes.
So you're seeing that there's a battle going on a pass in the Grey Mountains, and it's Skaven against Bretonnian.
Mm-hmm.
It does not appear to be going well for the Bretonnians.
Good.
There's a bit of a theme in this. In almost every short story the Bretonnians in, they've been fucked.
Well, yeah.
Warhammer Monthly has an agenda.
I'm all I'm saying is it's the late 90s, it's a British comic, and the Bretonnians are loosely based on France and Arthurian legend.
I feel now it's time we need to strike back. Bretonnia first.
Mabba. Make Bretonnia. No, that doesn't work. That was make a Bretonnia again. No.
But yeah, I say, because you had the two-parter with the Curse of Dubois nonsense.
Yep.
Which one kind of got a bit of a happy, but still bash. But every other one's been, we're Bretonnians, it's not going well. We're fucked.
I wonder if... Because the Bretonnians at this point are in the starter set. It's Bretonnians versus Lizardmen. So I'm wondering if they are showing the Bretonnians being beaten back to get people playing the Bretonnians. It's like, I'm going to win. I'm going to get the Bretonnians. I'm going to start fighting.
I think you're crediting them with a lot more joined up thinking than I think has been evidenced so far, if we're being brutally honest.
No, you're probably right there. But it is kind of weird, isn't it, that the Bretonnians get such a short shift.
Yeah, you are absolutely getting pumped.
What was the one about the Skaven coming to the city?
That was in Talia, I think, though.
Oh, was it Tilia?
Yeah.
I was trying to remember.
Yeah, we've kind of only skirted around kind of all the big, like the empires. Kind of, they've always been on the fringes of the city, so you've not really seen much of any of the big cities. And
no.
Again, as we said, it is a bit odd that you're not getting stories which kind of feature in and around a lot of the established characters, even if you don't want to do anything with them. It's like you've got there's enough fucking elector counts so you could just have them dotted about and moving in and around.
Absolutely. The Border Princes is like my favourite setting for the human part of the old world, because you have all these little mercenary kingdoms that have cropped up and all these little places there. So you could play and do so many stories based around the Border Princes, and it's weird that they never have. It's going to be interesting when we get to the end of this, where we start looking at what they haven't actually done.
Yeah. So what our big reveal is that the tale is being narrated by Lord Louis de Maupassant, who comes from a noble Bretonnian bloodline of distinguished knights of the realm. He's only been the Lord of Chervin and Paravon for a short time, because his own brother, Lord Eric de Maupassant, was tragically lost on the battlefield a few months ago as he faced the Skaven Scourge.
Once more, Britannia stands victorious. Dash, dash, must flee. Yes, scurry, scurry. Slaves, run, run. Unleash monster, yes. Monster kill. Win, win.
God, I love the Skaven.
Yeah. So what we find is the creature that's been in a cage is now no longer in his cage. He is being pulled along while he's still chained. And it turns out in their unholy war against us, these diseased vermin had unleashed a multitude of such repugnant beasts upon our noble warriors. There's a big, deformed monster who's just like, time to kill.
Yes, yes, kill the shiny knights.
Open the gate of carnage. It's like, let me in. It's nice that he's a bit eloquent, though.
It is.
So you kind of thought it would have been like, ugh. He's like, no, I'm liking that. He's got a turn of phrase.
He's a politeful, hateful monster.
And so at that point, let me confront this fiend on my horse with my sword, as the rest of them are just like, fair enough, on you go. What they don't is they go, come back, sire, it'll mean your death. My lord, save yourself. See, reading this, it just rankles my classism just comes, it's like, fuck, they're not better than you. Fuck off. Let them die.
Why is there no old world version of the Proletariat?
We can fight another day. What's this You're going to fucking die if he legs it. You absolute fanny. I cannot retreat. I am a knight of the realm. Adam and I both apologise to any of our European listeners who are offended by this.
Yes, I decided very, very quickly after doing my Once More Britannia Stands Victorious, I am not doing any more French accents today.
My high school French has long since abandoned me. Sadly, at this point, the eloquence of our big monster leaves him, and it just goes to kill, shiny knight.
I love the fact that he starts off being like an eloquent Clayface, and then just becomes Bizarro Clayface.
So on the bridge, the knight is taking on the big beast, and he's like, abomination, from what hellspawn pit have you sprung? That foul creature is a blow struck from my dear departed brother. He bizarrely decides to try and stab him with the sword, which, given he's a beast, is like, you want to be going for more slashing strokes.
Yes. I mean, he has it right with the first one, with the over the head. That's a good shot.
Yep.
But you don't want to be trying to stab, not with a long sword, not when you're that close quarters. Because you'll never get your sword back, and this thing has its...
He's considerably bigger than you.
Yes.
And you're now no longer on a horse.
That's a good point, actually. Did he jump off his horse, or was his horse killed?
I'm going to assume the way it's positioned, it feels very much like the horse throws him.
Yeah.
And he gets up and fights. Because it's clearly done that he's off and he's pushed the beast back onto the bridge, because he's on the cliff just the other side of the bridge at this point. So he's beating him back. So he's doing the job in terms of... And it's like, as he stabs him, he goes, the big monster goes, brother.
Do you know my valiant brother's name? Prince Valiant. Were you responsible for his fate? For that you shall die 1,000 deaths.
The big monster goes, my brother. And he goes, you lying hellhound, your life is now forfeit. So it's like the mere suggestion that this creature was connected in some way to my brother was beyond imagining. Wild fury overcame me. I had but one course of action.
I don't think you did, mate. I think you had more courses.
So at this point, he cuts one of the ropes holding the bridge together, knowing full well that it will not support their weight. It's like and so they go over the cliff. They go full Riken back, and he's like, "Die, you hideous fiend, die!" All the while, the monster's going, "Brother," and then
Louis.
And they hit the ground with a sickening thud. There's a lovely panel as Louis is still alive. His impact cushioned by the large jelly-like body of his now dead brother, who makes a nice meat angel.
My God, I do love this caption. I do not know how long I lay on that field covered in my brother's drying flesh and blood as he's inside the rib cage.
It's but at night I heard the chattering of those loathsome vermin as they lifted me up, and soon the cool night air was lost to me as I was taken underground.
I could only hear insane high-pitched gibberish and could only make out the grotesque shapes as I was conveyed through a labyrinth of damp, foul-smelling tunnels.
Help it? Create warp beast. Yes, yes.
It was not enough to be forced to be chained up with some of the basest creatures ever to walk this earth. But I, Louis de Massapon, was considered to be nothing but a toy, a plaything for my captors, as he's chained up and Warpstone is just presented to him as he gets turned into another warp beast. I loved this.
Fly, flesh, and blood.
It is... It's ace. This is fantastic stuff. It's glorious art. It's a fun, horrible story that's got so much goo to it that it's dripping. I'm a fan. And the fact that it's Skaven is just the cherry on the top.
I'm not as fulsome in my praise of you purely because I think it takes too long to get to the twist.
Okay.
It's the minute you, I don't know how long I lay there covered in my brother and gets pulled in, and you've got the whole page setting up the gag for the final page. I don't think you needed all that much. That should have been tighter.
Yeah, okay. And the sort of feed me my own flesh and blood should have been the final third of the next page after he was dragged in.
Yeah, you don't need all of that. We know where it's going. This very much feels like we're spoon feeding you the ending in case you don't get it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Well, I say it's not bad, but I just think that to me is the bit where it's you're over egging the point.
I suppose the question is who's he's telling this to, because at this point he's lost his mind and gone completely gooey.
Yeah, which is a nice thing that points out that there's a rational brain trapped in there, which makes the horror even worse. But like I say, it just feels like you needed to be a little bit tighter on this.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. It's
feels like a writer not entirely confident that the people will get it, so you're kind of spoon feeding it rather than just let the readers know it's just needed to be a bit tighter.
I can't think of anything else I've ever read from Kevin Gunstone. So not a name I recognise.
I mean, again, the art is fantastic. It's Mike Perkins again who did the last Bretonnian one with the lone knight in his.
Yeah, that one was superb. No. Kevin Gunstone's done a few things, but I've not actually read any of them, which is... Techno freak. Nope, I haven't read anything by Kevin Gunstone, so it'd be interesting to go and have a look to see what else he's done, just to see what that's like. And I agree with you on the art. The art is gorgeous. It's lovely. Maybe that's the wrong word.
No, I enjoy it for what it is, but it's just I've read some of his other stuff.
Have you?
Aye.
Which one?
Do you remember when Marvel did the Mangaverse thing at the early 2000s? They did an event where there was lots of one-shots.
Yes.
Remember how some of them were all right, but some of them weren't?
Yes.
Now remember they did an ongoing series after it that was even poorer?
Mm.
Yeah, he wrote that.
Oh dear.
Aye.
Oh dear. I liked Spider-Man in the Mangaverse.
Yep, everyone did. The X-Men one wasn't too bad, but that was more just because of Jeff Matsuda on art. The Avengers one wasn't too bad because it was just kind of a Sentai giant mecha one.
Yeah, it was fun enough.
Punisher was weird. That's the one where she was a woman and was beating somebody up in a bathhouse.
Yeah. I have a vague memory of that. It's I think my brain's tried to rebel against it.
Yeah, because the Spider-Man got a sequel, The Legend of the Spider-Clan.
Yes.
Because that's one of Scotty Young's first bits.
And that was quite good fun.
Yeah, I remember enjoying that.
Mm.
Like I say, some of the Mangaverse stuff was decent.
Some of it less so.
Yes. A lot less so. But we don't. Let's say, to get back to the man, no, the art is great. Mike Perkins is fantastic.
Yeah, the art is lovely. There's a sense of, what's he called? There's another artist it reminds me of, the guy who drew Carl Jericho, whose name has completely escaped me.
Karl Kapinski.
That's the one, thank you. I had a K in there, but I was thinking Keith. I knew that was wrong. It's got a lot of the same kind of style to it, but it's very much its own thing.
I'd say his is a lot cleaner. Kapinski is an overly rendery one in terms of details, in terms of hatching and bits that. It's not that they don't need to be there, because that's the thing. It's about how people do it, but there's a cleaner line approach from Perkins here in terms of that.
And the Skaven don't look anywhere near as monstrous as they do with Kapinski. Which, if you ever looked at his Skaven art, yeah, these Skaven definitely have been. Someone gave him the Warhammer Quest plastic Skaven to work from. That is my bet. Right. Okay. Are you ready, Andy?
Well, to be fair, given we had the Redeemer, this is
Darkblade, Book 2, Part 3, The Orb of Lies and Truth. We begin with a absolutely stunning full-page splash of a dragon rearing up and scaring the living shite out of Spite. As first pages go, I'm giving that's a 10 out of 10.
It's a banger of a splash page.
It really is. I'm going to do my best to not get into the splash page more than I get into the rest of the story, but oh my word, that is how you begin. And it is a proper miniature has been taken off the table and placed into the comic. It is 100% all in for it. So, script by Dan Abnett and art by Kev Hopgood. No letterer, so I'm going to assume that the letterer was done by Kev.
I'm assuming it'll be the same letterer that did the first one, but again, it might be Kev, but this is to be clear, this is digital lettering.
Yes,
it's clear from the distortion on the beast, and you can see it as you go on to the book in terms of the way the balloons are done.
Yeah,
this is digital.
Yeah.
So he's legging it away from the dragon because he's not an idiot.
Run! Race, foul steed, or we are both dead. Race! There, shelter from this nightmare. And we discover that 8 days' ride into the mountains following the path of the Orb of Malkin has set for him. The Darkblade has found himself cornered by serpentine death. Curse this orb and curse the lies it tells me. I wondered how it allowed me to take it from its previous owners, and now I see it is treacherous to those who possess it. So we get a little bit of how we got to this point. How the orb has told Malison where to go. It's said to show the future, and Malice has gone to some lengths to acquire it, but mistrusts the visions it presents. Which, of course you do. It's a magic orb. You shouldn't really be paying that much attention to it. Each time I look into it, I see the answers that I ask. This enigma, this twisted line, it means nothing. The orb is worse than useless. It shows me nothing I can use. But the crack that the orb shows is the same as a canyon. Aha, thinks Malice. Onwards, inwards, off we go. And that's where we discover that the orb has brought them to the dragon, to this cave. You show me the same twisted line again and again. The dragon, however, is sick of waiting and finds another way to get to its meal. Malice shoots it because the dragon has a little crack in his tummy when the scale, and it's the perfect way to shoot an arrow to bring it down, which I'm fairly sure that dragon must have been on 1 hit point or something, because a small arrow like that, even into cracked scales, would do no more than piss off a dragon. The dragon dies.
And even if it's poison, it would take ages to take effect.
Yeah, so that dragon goes down far too easy. I'm saying that dragon hasn't eaten anything in weeks. It's got sepsis, and that arrow was just like, oh, sod it, forget it. I'll just give up and die.
Ah, so there is truth to the orb, thinks Malice. It seems only a matter of interpretation. From now on, I'll be cautious. The orb has truth in it. I must simply learn how to read it. The end.
Yeah. So what we have now is, instead of him having a hand, evil talking hand leading him to his or demon possessed bit, he now has an orb to replace it, except it doesn't talk to him, it just gives him a vague picture. And again, there is just nothing to this story. I don't care. It's very pretty. Kev Hopgood is doing some amazing work, but I give no fucks about this.
But it's infuriating that Abnett wrote Inquisitor, which we are really, really positive, and we've said it many times about there are two Dan Abnetts, and this feels like all the information you are given here could be on 2 pages. Like, genuinely no more than that. It doesn't need to be more than that. But for something that is stretched out this far, it feels weirdly rushed in just getting the dragon dead. It's just don't understand the staging. I don't understand the rhythm that it's going for, because there isn't one.
There's also the thing of, we're back to another fetch quest.
Yes.
He's there ostensibly to get his soul back that Sarkhan has taken.
Yes.
What difference has there been between Darkblade before his soul was taken and after it was taken?
None
to
whatsoever.
Demonstrate any kind of loss, any kind of need.
Yeah.
What has Sarkhan done in the intervening time that makes him a threat that he can't just go, you know what, fuck it, I'll live my life? Chalk one up to experience in that I just got hoodwinked by a demon. It happens.
Yeah. Now, when I die, I'm going to go get eaten by a demon. Oh, well. It is baffling. I mean, we've discussed multiple times about how Darkblade has no actual character, and it's not something I really want to beat that dead horse, because I think it's been ground to hamburger by this point. But right now, he has no point. He has a purpose, but he has no point, because the character as shown is the same nothing character that we've had when he was possessed. The only difference being we're not getting a snarky hand responding to him, which I didn't think I was going to say, but I'm starting to miss the hand.
Well, you now have, it's gone from a two-hander to a one-hander. And the problem is, you can only do a one-hander if the one hand is interesting enough to carry it.
Yes.
It's like to go to Doctor Who, is like, if you remember Heaven Sent or Hellbent, the Peter Capaldi one where he's basically on his own for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
You need someone of presence to be able to carry that off in terms of as a performance, and you need to have the material to go with it. There is nothing.
No.
Nothing of that.
I didn't think Darkblade could get more bland, but Jesus Christ, this is... It's infuriating. It's genuinely infuriating that we have this character who is exploring the lengths and breadths of the old world, and we are getting nothing. This dragon is awesome. This dragon looks the business. The art is doing an amazing job in making the dragon seem a threat. The script, however, dispatches this giant threat with nothing. It is Badoom. And yeah, okay, maybe it's to try and make Darkblade seem like the cool guy who just one-shotted a dragon. But because I don't care about Darkblade as a character, it doesn't come across as cool. It comes across as just being lazy. Once again, here is an obstacle that Darkblade has to deal with. Badoom, dealt with. All right. There's no perseverance. There's no hero's journey, so to speak. There's no learning and moving forward. It's just Darkblade does his thing and succeeds constantly. It's not even that he's failing upwards, which would be something more interesting. If he kept failing upwards, okay, it's not brilliant, but it's something. But it is obstacle, defeat obstacle, onto the next. And it has been this constant cycle with Darkblade since the beginning. And it's insufferably boring.
Yeah, it's just so It's like there's just nothing to it. I don't even have the energy to get angry with it because there's just nothing to get angry about. It's just, it fills up pages. It's very pretty to look at, but that's it.
Yeah. At least BloodQuest is back next issue.
Yes, and I remember the leveling up of the art between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not that book 1 was bad, but it's just like I remember where the art goes.
It's genuinely funny to me that if I think back to me buying this off the shelves way back when, that I would hate Darkblade as much as I do and love BloodQuest as much as I do. It wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, even at the beginning of us starting this journey, it would be such a weird experience of like, I disliked BloodQuest a lot and I was excited to get into the Darkblade. Now it's like, please, can I have BloodQuest back? I'm sick of Darkblade.
Just absolute garbage. Just a nothing story there's not, again, so gorgeous to look at, but there's just nothing to hang on.
No. Although I really, really want to get hold of Kev Hopgood and see if he has that page for sale anywhere. The dragon rearing up in spite in his amazing fucking hell experience. Don't think I've ever seen a cold one look so scared in my life. I love it. So with all that being said then, shall we draw this to a close?
Yes.
I'm sorry that we end on such a damp squid this evening. It
could have been worse. Can you imagine what would have happened if it'd been Redeemer being the end of it?
At least there would have been energy involved, because I would have.
At least we ended on apathy rather than outright bile and hatred. Which
True.
Again, because I say we try to be positive on this podcast as much as possible because there's enough. It's easy to talk shit about stuff. That's the thing.
Yeah,
and it's a case of
negativity is really easy. It's very, very easy to just have a base negative response to things. Positivity, you can get conversation out of, and that's something I'm vastly more interested in the conversation than I am.
So, in the interest of that, what we're going to do is we're going to give you some. If you read this and you're not familiar with the works of certain creators, I'm going to give you a little shopping list. So for Pat Mills, what you want to get is you want to read Nemesis the Warlock. Now, specifically, you're looking for books 1 to 9. It's fine after, but it loses something. Book 9 is actually quite a natural, ambiguous endpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So these have all been collected multiple times and are available through 2000 AD digitally. ABC Warriors, you want the Mech Files 1 to 3 covers pretty much everything other than the Joe Pineapples. Tin Man, which, if you're a fan of Bisley, get it. And Clint Langley art, get it. Otherwise, don't. I can't recommend it. Young Abnett, if you want your Games Workshop stuff, there's enough of the horror, and if you've read any of the Horus Heresy books, you'll know his stuff's great. If you want some comic stuff from Dan Abnett that's very good, also from 2000 AD, is Brink. Imagine a Lovecraftian conspiracy in space that spans multiple books. It is brilliant. The latest book has just started in this week's 2000 AD, to give you where we are. We're recording on 17th September, just for context when you get to it. I cannot recommend that enough. From his Marvel stuff, I recommend his Guardians of the Galaxy stuff with Andy Lanning.
Mm-hmm. That was good stuff.
Good. Just to actually see why we like these writers and why it bums us out so much when we're coming up against material from them that we don't feel is reflective of the quality that they can do.
I think one of the issues I always find, especially with coming across names that we recognize here, is that I have a long history of reading comics. I am a big old nerd, you might have guessed. But also I'm a huge fan of the medium of comics. I think the medium of comics is something that you can do a hell of a lot with. Unlike computer games or movies or TV, you have the ability to change the very viewpoint in what you're doing. It doesn't always have to be square boxes. And there's a lot to be said about what you can do in that medium. Now, I'm not saying that every comic should be that, but you have the ability to get outside the box on a very regular basis and do interesting things with the printed page. One of the reasons I get so hard on Warhammer Monthly at times is that we know that a lot of these people are capable of getting outside the box and doing something very, very interesting. And maybe sometimes it's at the very beginning of their career. Sometimes they've had a long and storied career by this point. It still feels like there's so many missed opportunities taking place that it can't help but work my nerves. You know, you can do so much, and 16 issues in, there hasn't been that much experimentation happen in both the way the medium is presented and the examination of the settings as they stand. And it makes me wonder, who was Warhammer Monthly for? Or was it just a checklist? Was it just somebody thinking we should have a comic to go alongside?
Yeah, it's... Like I say, it's just... There's so much you can do with the settings that you've been given. You have a sandbox that you can play with. And it's just, yeah. We've seen some bits that are good, but it just feels very much like you've got limited page count, and every time you whiff, it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we might be out of step with the readership. That's the thing, is we're looking at this, and this, to be clear, we're looking at this as our opinion, some 20, 30 years removed from the original events.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if fair play, if you enjoy Darkblade, you enjoy Darkblade. We're not here not to tell you that not to.
No, and to be honest, if you enjoy Darkblade, tell us about it. Let us know what it is you like. I'm never going to piss on your parade for liking something we don't.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how it's clicked. What's clicked for you? Purely because, as I say, it's leaving me cold, and it's not because I dislike any of the creatives involved. I say there hasn't been, I say, aside from the Bretonian two-parter, which was an awful mess, but I think as much production as anything else.
Yes.
You're looking at most of the critics going, there's been bits to take out of, there's been positives from most of their work. There's not really been too many inherently, I hate this from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, with the exception of Pat Mills' script for The Redeemer. I'd actually argue is probably the thing that's angered me the most.
Yes, because you know what Pat Mills is capable of. You can see how he's just fallen back on the stuff that he knows and can do by rote and hasn't bothered to do anything. He's just fallen back on those tropes and gone, and here it is.
But it's not even that he's fallen back on the tropes. He's used them far more poorly than he's previously done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, this is... Aye. I know we'll get more Redeemer because there's a special I keep seeing on eBay when I'm looking at stuff, so I remember a little bit more. It's like, I'm not looking forward to it.
I mean, maybe it finds its footing, maybe it gets going, maybe it's something we'll only find out as we go along. But from that first entry, I don't think it will.
I charitably think it is the worst thing that's been in the book.
Yes. Is it worse than Curse of Dubois?
Yes.
Yeah, I would struggle to disagree with you. Because Curse of Dubois was a massive misstep, whilst the Redeemer is actively bad. But once again, if you guys out there have a difference of opinion, let us know, because I ain't going to take the piss out of it. I want to know. I genuinely want to know what the things that you guys like, and we'll discuss it.
Yeah.
Would you like some positivity?
I think we need to try and end on a positive note, because we don't normally sit and have a moan fest too much, or it becomes constructive after a while, but it's been difficult to do it on this one.
Yeah. So I've got some feedback. Yeah. The feedback's starting to come in. So if you guys want to give us some feedback, you can either go on the Discord, our Discord, links below, Facebook, or just put feedback underneath the show itself, or go into the group and give us feedback from there. You can email us at fluffandhammer@gmail.com. However you want to do it, just give us some feedback, because I will happily read out anything you have to say about what we're doing and the comic itself. So Pierre Graydon, and I apologise if I get your name or mispronounced it there. WHAM issue 9 was really good. I've never read simultaneously, but I've learned some issues of which you discuss. It's very learning for me, a comic creator, to hear your issues on the quality. Makes me terrified to create. It amazes me that the supposed top-of-the-line in graphic productions actually make these kind of mistakes. I suppose I can probably give myself some slack. There also seems to be a huge self-confidence in the things that Games Workshop did. I suppose that things available weren't as big as today. Sheer access to fantasy was enough. Add blood, swords, and heavy metal, and I suppose it was an auto-win. So Piers from Sweden, he goes on to say that where he grew up, a small rural town devoid of anything, they didn't have a VHS, and seeing Heavy Metal magazine in the local grocery stores was like a bombshell. I like the fact that the first person that we get feedback from is from Sweden.
So here's the thing. Despite what we say, do not ever be discouraged from creating anything. Put it out there. What you need to, the thing to remember is, if you're doing something for yourself and you never share it with the outside world, it's yours entirely. The minute you put it out there, it becomes shared.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer just yours. So, and I don't talk about the horrible shared ownership that people seem to think because they're a fan of something. It's a horrible thing to feel.
Yeah.
But when I interact with something, I have a connection to it. That's my connection to it.
Yes.
So anything I think of is filtered through my perception of it. It's why, again, we live in a society now where, sadly, because people watch Cinema Sins, they seem to think they know how to critique media. They don't. No one does. It's a difficult skill and discipline to master, and I would say I am not an expert by any stretch. I am merely sharing an opinion on something. I will comment with authority on things I know because I've done them myself. Yes. I've produced comics, I've produced books, I've produced, I've helped produce animation, so I've done bits and bobs of everything. So these bits I know I'm speaking with a practical knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know enough about it, I won't talk about the quality. I'll talk about my perceptions of the quality of it, but I won't talk about the production of it because I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a case of bearing it. All you need to know is the minute you do anything creatively, and I speak for everyone from a creative point of view, as you are doing it, it is the best thing since sliced bread. You are doing something this is it. The minute you finish it and you either share it online, publish it, print it, however you do it, you will only ever see the mistakes you didn't catch.
Yes.
And it will drive you wild. And that's a good thing because it spurs you on to be better, to get it. But all you need to look at is when you do something, it should be it's the best that you could do at the time. And if you can look back and say that, you've done your job. And that's it. When we critique Games Workshop, and as you see, a lot of the stuff that we critique about that Warhammer are production stuff. It's simple things. It's not creative stuff. It's just things that it's either and as we've said in some, are they being rushed? Is it lack of, are they up against a deadline? Are things late? These are all things to go in. Case in point, for those who are at TF Nation this year, the Transformers convention I helped run, will notice that we produce the program. I do the program and do the schedule. Because I was making changes, the word schedule is in the program twice on the big massive schedule. At the very bottom, it's spelled correctly. The top, it's got schedule with no C. Now, it previously did, but I had to make changes because I was resizing it. And because it was close to having it needing to go to the printer, because we'd done all the spell checks earlier, I didn't spell check the work I'd changed again. So it goes to print. Don't see anything about it because it goes to elsewhere. I see them when I get to the event, and then it's like,
yeah.
So these are how the production stuff. I can understand how these things happen, but it's more about there are certain bits and things you just look at and go, the creative decisions. I can say, I want this. If I'm invested in something, I want it to be the best thing it can. Not for me. It doesn't necessarily have to appeal to. Not everything has to appeal to me. But I want it to be the best. And I look at something and I see, it's not. It's not that Darkblade doesn't appeal to me because I don't like Dark Elves or I don't like fantasy. My preference is 40k and always was.
Mm-hmm.
But I like fantasy because I don't mind Tolkien, and I love Michael Moorcock, which they strip mined a lot of his material for. So,
Very much so.
Of course I'm going to be well disposed. But what I look at and I see, if I don't feel it's the quality's there in terms of that should be better, that could be better. It's not about, and again, art is subjective, so there's going to be, look, I think we talked about with Curse of Dubois is probably the one that we probably dug the arts out the most.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from potentially maybe Dwarf Lords, which I think isn't about the quality of art, was about the way the story's told.
Yeah.
Which is slightly different. The talent there. But again, comics is a discipline that you get better at the more you do.
Of course.
But when we dug out Dubois quite a bit, but we also talked about how the art was clearly not designed to be black and white.
Absolutely.
So those are the artists, whatever your comments on the quality of the story, the art itself, very Image, which we talked about, which was again popular enough, so I can see why people develop that style. You're the sum of your influences, but the artwork wasn't designed for black and white, so you're immediately setting those artists up to fail.
Yes.
When you give the finished product, in that's not ready, that's not right.
No, it's not a completed piece. It becomes a problem when something is designed a certain way. I mean, the best way of describing it is you look at any car. A car is built a certain way to work. If you put the wrong chassis on the car, it is not going to fit because it's not built for that space. And it's the same problem here where somebody makes something with the intention of it being coloured and it is not. It loses so much in the production part of it because it's not a finished piece. It is lackluster because it's not complete.
And the inverse is true when you see art that's designed for black and white that's been recoloured.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at you, IDW, with your Judge Dredd reprints. Thing is, the colourist is fantastic. I love his other work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you're doing this in a style that doesn't fit.
No.
There's bizarrely the only one I've actually liked in terms of any modern recolouring, using modern colouring techniques on old stuff is the Jim Lee X-Men stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When they recoloured, it actually worked. But it stands out as a rarity rather than the norm. But no. But to go back to the point, is like, do not feel create everything, and also bearing in mind, as we've said along, this podcast is just the opinion of us two assholes.
Yes.
It carries no more, no less weight than your opinion.
Yeah.
And that's the thing to remember, is it's like, read stuff. If you like what we say, and I think you do if you're still there with episode 9, because I don't think we got good until about episode 5. Well, thank you. But that's it. These are all just opinions. And again, how we feel, how we interact. And again, there's certain critical things, but again, art is subjective as well. There is always an element of subjectivity to it.
Yes.
Because it's about what you like, what your tastes are, what you're into. Again, Warhammer Monthly is pulling from a lot of classic UK Marvel /2000 artists, so of course I'm going to love the artwork. Tellingly, the two stories that were more American-centric artists, not so much. Although I quite like Rebner's, I had a bigger problem with just the dialogue in the Ravenwing story as opposed to the actual art.
I think the bricks and mortar of the Ravenwing story was the thing that got you the most.
Yes, but that's it. It's always just, and again, the whole point about, and I think as we preface this, back if you're doing proper printing for distribution for release, which is what they were doing, you make your print date. Yes. Otherwise, you're going on the shelf, because you generally are using printing presses that are printing for multiple people. So you have a slot booked. Your slot is there. If you ain't ready, tough. Yep. They'll bump the production order up, move through, but you ain't getting in until they accommodate you, and that could be anything. And if it's not the right point, you aren't getting shipped to your distributors who aren't going out. So,
when the Image had way back when, stuff was shipping so late with Image because they constantly went back and refined.
Wasn't going back and refining, it was not actually finishing the fucking work.
I was being charitable. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons.
The vast majority being not actually having the work ready.
Yes.
And that's it. The deadline is king. And that's the point to remember in terms of it. If you've got all the time in the world to do something and do it at your own pace, that's fine. You'll produce something you're absolutely satisfied. If you're doing something where it's got a deadline, it needs to be done, there will always be a little bit of an element of compromise.
Yeah.
It's one of these things. People talk about comics being as like there's no limits to what you can do, so you can do anything, and it's like no, there are limits. You just do not understand them. And the way to look at it is, if I'm a writer and I'm writing for another artist, I need to be aware of that they need to do all of these pages by a certain amount of time. So if I've got a script that says you've got 10 pages and they need to be done within the next 3 weeks, say.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to be sure that if I'm writing for them, that if I've got pages that are going to be intensive, that there's going to be pages that are going to be nice and easy. So you've got your balance of, if I'm giving you a crowd scene or a big army fight with lots of fucking horses, artists love drawing horses. We don't fucking hate. If I've got you that, and you've got like a 2-page spread, that's going to take more time. So I'm going to give you a couple of pages where they're just close-up character headshots, so you can save some time. So that's it. It's not an unlimited budget. There is a budget, is time. Yes. And that holds true for all of it. So these are the practicalities that go in when you're actually producing anything like that. Is like, a good writer writes to their artist, and that isn't just writing to the artist's strengths. If you know the artist you could be working with, you can always do that in terms of, well, they're very good doing this kind of thing. But you're also looking at, I know that they've only got X amount of time to do this, to produce this as well. So I need to make sure that when I'm writing it, I'm spending the money wisely, because it's the sweat equity that they're going to do, the time that they're going to have to invest. So it's like, if I want that big, elaborate 2-page battle scene that has all the bells and whistles, I need to give them some stuff that they can make time up, so they've got the extra time to invest in this. So these are the things that you have to go. But let's say the deadline is king. So guess what? If that's going to be late, something's got to go out.
Yeah.
So your deadline is always a compromise. So generally, you tend to find a lot of the stuff in terms of production errors will just be, shit, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
And pretty much guarantee, for all we've ragged on the editors in terms of these bits, I can guarantee the minute they sent that to print, they've noticed it.
Oh, yeah.
Or they've noticed it already, but they don't have time to correct it.
Yeah.
And that's just simply it. So the production side of things, these are the stuff. And let's say, that's how it is. The book is okay. It's gone. And in those things, when we do plates and stuff, that's it. They're going to print unless there's something that's going to not catastrophically not work. Printer's not going to tell you to do it. They're just going to print the stuff out. And if it's fucked, it's on you.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Modern now, obviously, do a lot more digital printing. So depending on who you work with, they will give you checks and stuff, and they will check certain work and tell you certain ones are better than others. But it's on you. But a lot of these production snaffus will be just because of time. So you always have to bear that in mind, and that's always a caveat. And if we've not made that clear enough, that's on us, and I should be clear on that. Again, probably more me than Adam, because I've done more of the outside of things in this, so I do kind of know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There will be compromises due to deadlines, and that's it. So it's to be clear on that. So, I mean, if you, let's say, and just to be clear, never be scared to create anything, because guess what? And it's always about, don't measure it against anyone else.
No.
You'll go mad.
No. The only person you can ever measure yourself against is yourself. Don't try and measure yourself against any other person's yardstick. And that's actually something that I teach people at work. Yeah. Because that way is the only way that you will truly fail, because you can't do something at somebody else's level, because they are not you. They have different experiences. They have a different background. They have a different life. They have a different upbringing. All you can ever do is measure yourself against yourself. And if you feel that you can improve on what you've done already and do it better the second time round, that is a win. Never, ever, ever kick yourself if you feel that you're staying on the same level for a while. That is just how life works.
It's, if you can look at the piece and go, that was the best thing I could do at the time. So I'll go back to years ago, we did a continuation of the well-received but sadly curtailed Transformers animated series. We did a graphic novel for TFN to raise money for charity. So Jim Sorensen and Chris McFeely wrote it, I lettered it and edited it, and I commissioned the 3 artists to do it, which were Ed Perry, Herz Paltler, and Gav Spence. And I'm friends with them all. And we, every so often, because it's now out there online, we did a limited print run, raised money for charity, not to make profit off Hasbro's IP, because that's not how it works.
No.
And then released it online. So it's out there. And we periodically talk about it and looking and go, I would letter that differently. And it's like, And Gab goes, every so often I look at it and go, I'd like to redraw that bit. And you're like, but we both have the same conversation, which is, but it was the best we could do at the time, and it's a waste. So don't get hung up on redoing stuff. Once you've done, put it out there, move on, do the next thing.
Yes.
And that's it. And it's a case of, and you should only be drawn for you. If it doesn't make you happy, or creating it, if it doesn't make you happy, don't do it.
No.
If you're not getting anything out of it.
No. If it feels like you're just grinding away to do something, take a break, take a step back, have a look at it from a different point of view.
The amount of mad stuff I do, and I do it purely on a whim or a challenge. For those that don't know, I like doing daily comic strips. It's generally when I do my most work, because I'm a procrastinator on an elite level. We're talking Olympic class, if I could get away with it. I need a deadline to make me work. It's just how I am. And I function better working to a deadline.
Yes.
If I do stuff so far in advance, it's not as good. The deadline does make it unlock something that I don't have time to think about it. So I don't have time to think. And when I'm just doing, it comes out better. So I started doing daily comics just as a wind up. I picked a Transformers character who's a robot who got his body destroyed, and they couldn't make a new one for him. Yeah, because they couldn't make a body for a fucking robot. So I did it for 1 month as a gag, then brought it back a couple of years later. And because Adam and I were regular conductors, and we were doing review time, and it was called the Daily Straxis. Most of it's not back online yet. I will sort it out. And the running gag was, I knew how it would end, and I just started. Yeah. And it's like, how long is it going to go for? I think I'm getting near to the wrap up after about 60 installments to 100. To 100 odds. Did an entire year. Ended it on 300. I managed to end it on 365. And then took a break. Then thought, I had an idea for him again. Came back again, another couple hundred. But it stops being fun. I always have an end point. And anything I do is just either to amuse me or amuse my friends. Like I adapted Shakma as a 3-panel daily adventure strip.
Yep.
I know more about Shakma than any other human being alive because I watched this film in 10-second bursts over and over again to get the staging for the 3 panels. And I invented mythology for this show because watching it in those chunks, and again, this is what comes. You find things into material that isn't there.
Yes,
it's not there, but it's there now because from I watched it there's a rich vein of toxic masculinity throughout Shakma, and Richard, poor sweet Richard, was a perpetrator and victim of that, and you could see him struggling against it, and then he dies. No, he doesn't. He's an asshole in the film. They're all assholes. But see, watching it in those chunks, I pulled that pulled out of it from me reading, watching an experience. People we are very good at finding patterns and things that aren't there. And part of it's projecting bits of ourselves onto things as much as anything else.
Oh, absolutely.
But I say, I did that because it was 2 reasons. 1, I wanted to challenge myself in terms of pacing. And 2, I have a very good friend who gets very wound up, and Shakma annoys her. Because we make her watch it when we get together, and she has a Shakma video rental poster in her. I got her and her husband as their moving in gift. It has pride of place in the living room.
It's just occurred to me, I don't think I've ever actually told you this, but many years ago, I got one of the hosts of the Under Consultation Games Master Retrospective, and we had a little podcast and dealt with it. And I introduced him to your Shakma as a big fan of Shakma that he was. And he was over the moon. Absolutely overjoyed that there was a vein of Shakma that he hadn't mined yet.
Yeah. But I think it's to go back, any creative work you should get something out of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you want it to be a job, that's a bit different. But if you're doing it, do it because you want to. And again, people will like, dislike, or whatever. You just have to accept that. That can be difficult. I've flown off the handle at criticism before and will do again because we're only human. But it's a case of never be frightened to do anything and just chuck it out there because there'll be somebody that likes it. There'll always be somebody that vibes to it.
Yeah. That's the
Oh,
entire basis of my nearly 20 years of podcasting, I think.
I do stuff because I enjoy it. If I don't
Yes.
enjoy it, I don't do it.
Precisely.
Because if I want to do something that I don't enjoy, it's called my day job. I have enough of that paying the bills. Any creative endeavor is something that I get something out of.
100%. 100%. I will quickly say as well, Waldorf has also given us some feedback. I love the show. At the time, if I remember rightly, fantasy was rather underrepresented on comic shelves, either in newsagents, supermarkets, or the FLCBS. Slane would have been the most notable, and even then was reasonably sporadic in his appearances in the pages of 2000 AD. Conan was a fairly steady title for Dark Horse, but not exactly a marquee title. WHAM Monthly was a genuine oasis in the desert, even if the production quality could be variable. Yes, let's be charitable here. Please keep up the good work.
No, I think Conan was gone by that point. Conan comes back to Dark Horse early 2000s.
I was going to say...
Remember, Conan... Because Marvel had the Conan license. All the Conan titles stopped.
Yes.
Then they did Conan the Conan the Adventure for a little bit in terms of, because they had the live action TV series 97. I think Conan had a wee break, but yeah, Slane in 2008 was kind of every so often.
Yes. Because
I think the closest is when, again, Joe Mad does basically Battle Chasers in 99/2000.
Oh, no. 98-99, there's something else.
98-99.
So 98-99, there's something else on the shelves that has a barbarian fantasy theme to it. So, I mean, yeah, Battle Chasers is on the shelves, 97.
No, it's not 97. He's still X-Men.
Oh, no, you remember actually, 99 into 2000. No, Battle Chasers was 2000, wasn't it?
Because it's Cliffhanger imprint.
Yeah. I'm saying that was 2000.
No, I forgot, because remember, he was just a slow, lazy bastard. April 1998.
Oh, okay, all right, no worries. The thing I'm thinking of, and I'm so sorry for making you remember this, is Sigil. Do you remember the Sigil universe?
Oh, CrossGen.
Yeah.
No, I'm afraid you are wrong.
No?
You're a couple of months early. July 2000 for Sigil.
Oh.
Because remember, it's Mark Alessi does the mad thing. No, but he's right. Fantasy's kind of on its arse.
Yeah.
You're looking at it as because I think Conan's fallen, so really Slane's kind of the only thing kicking about. Because 2000 AD at that point was they'd gotten rid of Tharg at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because modern US direct market stuff, not really anything to speak of. Technically, Khazar had been back, which was actually quite good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, until Mark Waid leaves, and then it kind of falls a little bit off a cliff. But the first sort of 1920 issues are pretty good.
Yes. Yeah, good memories of Khazar. Yeah, weird. Very weird. So I think then, with all that being said, it's time for us to leave you all alone. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. The ending there was a really enjoyable one. I quite enjoyed the after comic conversation.
It was nice to rescue it after, like I say, what I feel has probably been the most disappointing issue, because you expect better from Pat.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. So if you guys out there want to give us any feedback, or you want to send us any letters, you can do so at fluffandhammer@gmail.com. Send us some stuff in, because I am fascinated to know what you guys are thinking of things, and not just the show, but the comic itself, or where you were at this point. What were you buying? What were you reading? Let us know all these things, because that's fascinating to me. I love to hear about people's journeys. So I think then what we'll do is throw it over to Mr. Turnbull. Where can people find you, Mr. Turnbull, if they want to hide outside your house with a bush?
Well, I'm hardly about to give my address out. Mostly Blue Sky, to be honest. I am on Instagram, but sporadically is the best, because I have a day job. I have a convention to run, along with other people, I should say. I always kind of say, I'm on a convention, not just me, there are other people involved. It's
yes.
There are many hands on the tiller of the juggernaut that is TF Nation.
The juggermorph that is TF Nation.
Speaking of juggermorph, so by the time this comes out, I can't remember, the Juggermorph is now in safe hands, because the trademark has been officially secured by myself and Mr. Gavin Spence. At the moment, doing a Juggermorph, the first Juggermorph original material in nearly 30 years for the Great Learning Tree Anthology Volume 2 when it comes out. I are plotting and both sharing it. Basically, all duties will be shared between the two of us.
Yeah. I am overjoyed and cannot wait.
And proper other Juggermorph material will debut next year. I will tell you more off audio. As for spoilers, but you'll appreciate.
As for myself, you can find the Fluff and Hammer, all the Fluff and Hammer stuff at thefluffandhammer.com. We are about to begin the Great Migration as we speak, so the website may get a little wonky for a little while when you hear this. That is only to be expected, for we are moving from Squarespace to a bespoke website, which is going to be fun because holy shit. Mostly because Squarespace cannot deal with the traffic anymore. Which is saying something. So with all that being said, we are going to get out of here. Give us a shout, give us a listen, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Farewell.